Today we're going to be tying a Watson's Fancy wet fly. It's a little wet fly that's good for salmon, brown trout and sea trout. So in the vise I've got a Kamasan B175 size 8, and the thread I'm going to be using is Semperfli. So you can get that into the picture, classic waxed 12-0 in black. Just turn that light round a little bit more. So just 2 or 3 mil behind the eye, we whip on, take our thread down and touch and turns. First wee video I've done in a long time, so it could be a wee bit rusty for this one. Just taking our thread down to past the point, somewhere in between the point and the barb, and break off our tag end. So for the tail I'm going to be using some golden pheasant topping. This is stuff I've dyed like a daffodil yellow. I just have a feather here I've already picked out. Clean off some of the excess fluff, and then just catch in on the top of the shank. The length of the tail we're probably looking somewhere in around the same length of the shank. That's not too bad there. Maybe take it a little bit shorter. There we go. And then we'll just bind that down in. Just bringing everything in over the top. Now for the rib of the fly I'm going to be using some Uni-French silver, small. I'll just catch it in just where I started to whip on, and again bring it all down with me. Just try and keep the body nice and smooth. So for the rear body I have some Uni-Floss thread. I'll just take off 6 inches or so of that. It's a size 8, so it's a fairly big fly, so we'll double it over. Just catch it in at our tail. And tidy up our tag end. So just with our first part of our rib, or sorry, our body, we're going to wind that up in opposite turns to the way we were winding our thread. So we'll counterwind our floss just up about halfway, and then tie it off. Trim off our excess, and then for the second part of our body we're going to be using some Uni-Floss in black. So same thing, just take a length of it, double it over, catch it in up near our eye, just caught around the vise a wee bit there. Just take it down to where we want our black body to start, roughly halfway, and again counterwind our floss, just bringing it touch and turns up towards our eye, leaving probably 3-4 mil or so there, just for hackle and wing to go on. A few turns of thread over it, binding everything down in. Trim our excess off, and then just make sure everything's well tied down. So now we're going to bring our rib up. So open turns, trying to keep everything nice and even up through her body. So the rib we're going to take the same way as our thread, which means then whenever we tie a rib off, we're using the rib to tighten into the floss. So for the throat hackle for this fly, I'm going to be using some black hen. It's a little cape I dyed myself. So just pick off a feather, strip off any of the fluff that we're not going to need, and then double it over. I like to double it over just before I tie the tip in. Just grab my scissors here. So just take our tip off to start. Catch that down in. Plenty of turns of thread to make sure it's well secured, and then we're going to wind our hackle on. Touch and turns, stroking the fibres back every time, just trying to make sure nothing sticks forward. So 3 or so turns of hackle should be ample. Come in with our thread, secure everything down, trim our excess off. So just with our finger and thumb we'll tease a lot of these fibres down. Just helps the wing sit a little bit better, and then we'll create a little base, a thread there for the wing to sit on. So for the wing, in the original pattern the wing's a crow, but I don't have any crow, so I'm just going to be using a couple of dyed black duck slips, primary feathers. So I have a couple of, if I can get them picked up, there we go, have a couple of slips here already prepared. Sort of the width of the wing I would like. So just taking them, lay them on top of the fly. Yeah, I can see that in the video. Tips of the wing just coming in round where the tips of the tail are. Hold them over the top, just fold them down, and then a wing lip. Got a couple of wee fibres of the hen there, but it's not really the end of the world. Let's just see what that's like. Not too happy with that wing in the back, so we'll maybe take that off and reset it. I tried to match them quills as best as possible, but bring it forward a little bit. Bear in mind it's just a fishing fly, so it doesn't really need to be perfect. There we go. That's sitting a little bit better. So if you're happy with the wing, we'll just get a bit more thread down, make sure everything's well secured. Come on with our scissors just over the top of the eye, same angle as the eye, trim off any of the waste. That's okay. And then we're going to add a couple of Junglecock eyes. So you just want to pick a couple small eyes, just whatever you think really suits your the pattern, the size of fly you're tying. Some people like a split Junglecock wing. If you're only really tying trout flies, it's a good way to use up some of the bigger feathers. Personally, I tie a lot of salmon flies and stuff, so I like just to use the smaller trout size flies. I use them full feathers and it helps utilise the rest of the cape. So what I like with this one, I'll just do my near side first. And then I'll do the far side. Do your side, camera side. Just check the position of it. Looks quite good there. A few more turns of thread. That's well tied down. And then come in, take off our excess stalks. Now, yeah, happy enough with that. The throat hackles maybe sitting a bit square, but we can really tidy that up in with our thread. Now, just with the thread we build up a bit of a head, just tidying up any of the wee hackle stalks from the Junglecock that might be sticking out. It's not too bad there. The throat hackles come round a little bit more. Reasonably happy with that. Then come in with our whip finish tool. Half a dozen whip finishes. You can go again if you want. Fly shouldn't be going anywhere now. Trim our thread off, and then we're ready for a touch of varnish. There you have the Watson's Fancy. Great little fly, probably one I don't really use enough of. I know a few boys that are big fans of it, hence doing the tie-in video. It was a bit of a request. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.